Yeah.
Oh. Okay, here we go. It's repeating for me twice in 1 minute. You want to face it? You want to look right at this thing?
Yes.
Okay. Good job. Okay.
All right.
So I came in yesterday.
You came in yesterday, April 26th,
27.
2016.
I think. Yeah,
27. 2016.
So you guys were reading, and then you asked some questions. And last week, the feedback was to cold call more students and to have more
Right.
students answering. And I think you did that.
I did that. Boom, boom.
You did.
Yes.
How do you think it changed the lesson?
It changed it because in this way I was able to dictate the terms of the conversation and get people's opinions who might ordinarily want to give one, But by me forcing them to give it, and it had nothing to do with the fact of whether or not they have a valid opinion or not, just the fact that I'm allowing them the opportunity to give it, then it opens up more room for conversation, to hear a wider variety of opinions instead of the same Jeffrey every time.
I know. You even tried to yesterday and you're like, no. So I think it really does help the dynamic because
No,
you're getting more student impact and input.
And that's always the goal, just to have kids ready and willing and able to voice their opinion, in a discussion, especially when we're discussing novels.
Yeah.
So.
And that's kind of what I want to talk about today because you were reading and they're all following along. There's just like 1 or 2 kids that were everywhere, but that's fine. I don't think that's a problem. But when you're reading, what do you want them to be doing?
Oh, what they should be doing is following along word for word as I'm reading.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you want them to be thinking about anything specific or have anything in mind?
Well, usually what I'll do is I'll preload it with a few things to look out for as we read. So I'll say, in this chapter, we're going to, and I'm going to say a few things that we're going to hear about in the chapter. And then they always know to be looking to make those personal connections. And then I will give them a few key things that they're on the lookout for, yes.
Okay.
So.
Okay, because I know they, at the end of class, they were doing the discussion questions. Do they know those questions ahead of time or no?
No.
Okay.
No. Like, they know it all depends. Like sometimes they do, sometimes if I want to give it like every once in a while, it's going to be completely foreign to them and then it'll be like a quiz.
Okay.
But as far what yesterday was, they knew the concepts and the ideas, so I guess they were sort of new, yeah.
What the discussion
It all
questions
depends,
were.
right.
I think it's up to you as a teacher if you want them to know or
Right.
whatever. But I'm just wondering how we can make them all accountable to be thinking about those things or have those things in mind when they're reading.
Right. So probably by providing it to them beforehand.
I don't think you have to necessarily give them the questions, but I do think it's helpful for them while they're reading to have some idea.
Mm-hmm.
So something I thought about yesterday when they were reading with you, even if you came up with a stop and jot question,
Right.
what you're thinking right now.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Would that be something you want to implement in your classroom, like the stop and jot?
Stop and jot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
You writing that down?
Stop and jot. I'm going to make a note of that.
Are they going to be reading tomorrow?
Yep.
We can come up with some questions right now
Yep.
based on the next chapter. If you want.
Sure.
Okay.
She just called me back. Call her every day at lunch.
Do you want to look at the next? Do you already have the discussion questions open for tomorrow?
Yeah, I've got the questions ready.
done.
Yeah.
So, if you just want to maybe think of like 3 or 4 questions that they can, while reading that chapter with you,
Okay.
to be thinking about
Right.
that relate to that discussion questions at the end.
Right. Well, one of the things that I really want them to start looking out for is how, because as we move forward into this, the issues of race are going to come, and it's been hinted at here and there. We're seeing little examples, like when Scout brings the the boy Walter when he comes home from lunch, all the way back to chapter 1. So we get little hints and pieces of it, but it's all coming to a head. So what I want them to start thinking about more and more is these racial things, and what I would like them to do is to make connections to their own lives. How these themes are playing out for them. So you get a better understanding. So the kinds of questions that I'm gonna, that I want them to be thinking about is these themes of racial conflicts and misplaced thinking and prejudices and biases and how they see it in their own lives.
Yeah.
So then we can relate that to the book.
So do you think tomorrow, if you had them even stop and jot, like, have you experienced any form of racism, or?
Yeah, or not even just have you. What examples have
Okay.
have you faced in your life where you were unfairly judged? I mean, and then from there we can go to racism.
Okay.
Or how do you feel you were unfairly judged? And
Okay.
for what reasons? Yeah, no, that'd be a good idea.
Judge. Okay, so we have, what examples of racism have you experienced? How do you feel you were unfairly judged?
Mm-hmm. And
Get hungry here.
I quit smoking how many 15, 20 years ago when I still
Chew.
chew.
Okay.
But I chewed on stuff before I smoked, so maybe it's just some kind of oral fixation. Just throw that away.
By the way,
I was trying to write with today at our band.
Doesn't. I've never read this book.
You've never read it? Well, just get out, right? This interview's over.
I know.
This is the quintessential American
have it.
novel.
So,
Well,
too
that's
busy
no
reading
problem.
Junkie.
Yeah, exactly. You're never too old to have read it for the first time.
So I'll
In
put
fact,
it on my
I
list.
never read it in high school. In fact, I was probably, I went back at a certain time in my life when I was in my late 20s. I went back and read like all the ones that I should have read in high school and didn't read.
I reread Catcher in the Rye last year.
That was one of them, yeah.
I didn't like it as much as the first time.
Right,
I think I'm not an angsty
Because
teenager
exactly,
anymore.
it speaks to a certain age and a certain mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in my head, I was like, it's my favorite book. It's my favorite book.
Yeah. No, we change. We do.
Okay, sorry, tangent. So, anything else you want to have them answer tomorrow that might help them with the discussion
Yeah, I
questions?
want to get them to tap into their emotions and how they felt at the time, and then looking back
Okay.
on it, how do they feel about that? So thinking metacognitively, how do they feel about how they felt?
Okay. How do you feel when that happened? How do you feel
about your initial reaction and what?
So how do you feel about that reaction now?
Yeah,
looking back?
exactly. Given the time now to reflect back on it, and do you think you would have reacted the same way, or differently? Do you feel, and also how did you react? And thinking back on it, what would you have changed about that? Yeah.
My immediate just thought is, like, people like Andrew, for example, can answer all these questions even when he's not following along in the book. So maybe pick a couple more like questions.
Well then after we do this, then how we say, how does that compare to how Tom Robinson must be feeling sitting in jail right now?
Yeah, so these can be your stuff, and that's your discussion
Yeah,
questions?
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these will just help with discussion. And I can type what you just set up and send it to you.
All right, that'd be great.
So, is it cool if I come in tomorrow?
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool.
Come in tomorrow.
Actually not here tomorrow, but, sorry.
Let's come in tomorrow. Or come in on Monday or whatever.
I'll come in
whatever.
Monday and just look for these like stop and jot
Okay,
types
sounds
of.
good.
Does that seem good?
Sounds
Monday?
perfect. Absolutely.
Perfect. Well, I'll take these up.
Okay.
You want to say anything before we sign off?
Deuces.